Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Yet another edition, but with a twist and a new segment, Life and Times. No rocket science to guess that the series would encapsulate journeys of well-known people, their private moments, their pain, their joys, their success and failures. And more importantly, what shaped them and helped them to be where they are today. These are stories of men and women who have left an imprint on the sands of time. Our first guest in this series is Mukul Rohatgi, eminent lawyer and one who has high-profile clients like the Ambanis, the late Jaitley, and Mulayam Singh Yadav. While Rohatgi's friendship with the late Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is well known, what is not known is his association to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. For the unversed, if Rohatgi's name does not ring a bell, then he's fighting the case of actor Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan would. Aryan Khan was jailed some years ago in a drug trafficking case. And who was the defense counsel? None other than Mukul Rohatgi. We have that Mukul Rohatgi here with us today to talk about Prime Minister Modi, Arun Jaitley and Shah Rukh Khan in our new segment, Life and Times, in our ongoing show, The Interview. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, and thank you for being here with us. Let me begin with the basic. Why and how law? Was it your first choice, or was it because your family was in the profession and it was just a done thing?
I think it was really the family issue. My father was a first generation lawyer. So it was kind of the done thing. And I found it was a decent profession. So that is how I chose that career. And let me tell you, those days, that career was not really the favorite career of a lot of people. The choice of the season, so to say, was chartered accountancy, was MBA and medicine. In fact, law would be a poor cousin.
Why is that?
That's how, it was perceived then because, I'm talking about the late 70s. The kind of cases were, stereotyped. Recoveries by banks, mortgage suits, evictions, stuff like that. A lot of refugees came in 47. So a lot of that next 20 years litigation was centered around refugees staying somewhere, not staying somewhere, having claims from the rehabilitation ministry, got a claim from DDA, had an issue with MCD, stuff like that. Very, very localized. There was no IPR issues. There was no expansion of business.
There were no Ambanis or Adanis.
There were no Ambanis, there were no Adanis, there were small businesses. So it was not really a preferred profession at all.
Did you have any other thought that I don't want to do this and this is what I want to do?
No, never.
So while on Ambanis and Adanis and the rich and the powerful, of course, Shah Rukh Khan I'll come to later. From there, from refugee cases to this, how did it feel interacting with them? What the transition, of course, was there, but
actually, it is thanks to Narasimha Rao that the economy opened up. Then there was no looking back because there was a flood of cases. Foreigners came, IPR issues came, patent issues came. Then came things like NHAI. NHAI was giving contracts for hundreds of crores to build India. All that, obviously will lead to disputes. And then we jumped from that normal Gali Wala league, so to say, to a league which was pan-India. And Delhi being the capital and the Supreme Court being here was the cynosure of all eyes. And then after doing all those kind of cases, somewhere towards the end of, I think, the 90s, came the Ambanis, big companies like Larsen and Toubro, and pharmaceutical companies like Cipla, this, that. I mean, I've been appearing for all. And then there's no looking back. Mr. Adani's companies litigation is started in the last 5 or 7 or 8 odd years.
Post-Modi era.
Yes, that is post-Modi era. But before Modi era were all these companies. And then that's how the interaction happened. And then you got to meet the Ambanis, you met the Adanis, you met, this side or the other.
Give me your impressions of your interactions with the Ambanis, Mr. Adani, and some of the other rich and powerful, if I may use the term.
I mean, you're talking about businessmen, not politicians. My impression was that most of them were intelligent, hardworking, and with a decent head on their shoulders. I didn't find any bragging or any swagger. They were kind of absolutely grounded.
But tell me, at which point did these business relationships turn to personal, and with whom? Mr. Ambani's children's weddings you have attended.
Yeah, see, I am essentially a professional. I don't have very great personal relations in the sense of, calling up and having dinner or this, that or the other. I don't have those kind of relations. But yes, I have been to all the weddings in the Ambani family. And some others here and there also, including a lot of politician weddings, people who have been in touch with me on personal basis. But that's how I maintain my relationship. It's not like a drawing room relationship. It's just a relationship that, on Diwali, somebody would send a gift. Mr. Ambani sends mangoes to a lot of people, including me, every year.
While on politicians, you have interacted with almost all of them. With Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav, of course, you had a problem with his diction. Jailalita, who always lived in the fear of death. Which politicians left a mark and which were the, oh God, never again, even if you don't want to name them?
As I told you, I am not their drawing room types. I am not the hanger-on types that if somebody is here, I would just be around, wasting my time. I am a professional. I do their cases. They respect me. I respect them. But it's purely professional. I have never gone to meet, let's say, Mr. Mulayam Singh, say to his house. And he was kind enough to come to my office.
His diction?
His diction was a problem. On telephone, it was a big problem. So I used to prefer to speak to him across the table because, he used to say, pardon me for saying, he was a very good, respected politician and a friend of mine. So he used to say, "Aap kahan hain? Kya case kar rahe hain? Case kar dijiye." He used to speak like that. So then I had to, kind of get about. And while his son is very intelligent and extremely clear in his thoughts.
Tell me about Jailalita.
She sent a lot of cases of her government. I'm talking about 20 years ago. And maybe she developed some faith. Her personal matters, involving her lands, and she had some lands in the hills there and all that.
She had lots of property.
Whatever. I used to do those cases. She came across as a very intelligent and a clear-headed lady. People called her arrogant and all that. But I never saw any arrogance. And I can just tell you an incident. I happened to be in Chennai some 15 years ago. So she wanted to meet me. So I went to her residence at Post Garden, and another MP or something were with me. So when we entered her office, and she was sitting on the table, and she nodded to me, and I looked around. Both the people with me, the MP and the minister, they had dived to the ground. They had just dived to the ground. There was a table, and she was sitting behind the table. But I didn't know what happened. I was flabbergasted. When AIDMK was in power, after she had gone, I did all their cases, including their dispute about a split between AIDMK, between Mr. Palaniswamy and the other gentleman. All of them still carry a photograph of Jayalalitha in their pocket. If you ever see them, they wear a khadi shirt.
That's right. And that photograph can be seen from their
It
linen
can be
pocket.
seen. And after that, when DMK came, somehow Mr. Stalin also seems to have faith in me. I do all their cases in the Supreme Court, and including the last important case, which was a shot in their arm, because they had a running dispute with the governor. So the governor was sitting on the bills and he was not signing large number of bills, and there was a chaos. So we moved the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court gave a very strong and courageous judgment, and said that if the governor doesn't sign, it will be deemed to be signed. It's a very, very far-reaching judgment. So obviously they were very happy with that judgment. So Mr. Stalin had a function to felicitate the lawyers who had appeared for him, including me. I couldn't go. So he sent a big Sengol, which is like a Hanumanji's Gada, and as a gift, it's made of silver. I have had interaction with a lot of the leaders, including Yedurappa,
Chandrababu Naidu,
Chandrababu
Revant
Naidu.
Reddy.
See, I'm appearing for Revant Reddy. It's a Congress government. They know that I was the Attorney General of the BJP. So Naidu's case, I'm actually very surprised. I was appearing for Jagan Reddy for a full 5 years for state government cases, including cases against Mr. Naidu. Immediately after the Naidu government came, within a month, Naidu's government sent me some sensitive cases. That was a very professional approach of a person sending cases to a lawyer who has been appearing against him personally. I mean, if you remember, he went to jail for 40 days. I appeared against him in the Supreme Court and he went to jail. And then for him to trust the same lawyer back, I think, it's really, really professional. Maybe I wouldn't have done it, but he did it.
Tell me, which were the, oh God, never again politicians? You needn't take the names, but incidents.
Well, I could say that, I have met some, what would I say, crude or uncouth kind of politicians. Let's say I called somebody at 5:30. And if I'm busy holding a conference at 5 minutes extra, like, yeah. So somebody just barge in and say, oh, I am so-and-so.
Which state?
There's, I know, several states.
But how tough is it to deal with politicians? Is it tough?
No, I don't find it tough at all, because as I told you, I'm not their drawing room types. So they cannot bring any extra pressure on me. I do their cases like any other case which I will do. I charge them my fee. I mean, I may give some discount because it's a state government, but I charge them fee. I don't do it free. But I can only say, suppose I'm doing a sensitive case for Jayalalitha or Yogi or X or Y, I may give a little more importance to it because it affects the state. I mean, I don't reach for a case. Sometimes it happens, you don't reach. But this, the shooting of this Ansari, it was a very big issue in the Supreme Court also. If I was not to reach for that case, it would reflect very badly on the state. So I would give it a little more importance. But I get my fee, I get everything. That's how it carries on.
We'll come to the Gujarat riot cases a little later. But before that, let me ask you, the influences, the earlier and later influences in life, your parents, and just take me through that.
See, my father was a very disciplined person, not only as a lawyer, but in personal life. So, in fact, he was a topper from Delhi University. One of the first when the DU was created in 1923, soon after that. He topped the law exam and all that. And if you remember Sir Maurice Guire, he is the person sitting in the middle. He was the Vice Chancellor of the university. So he appointed my father as a lecturer, part-time lecturer for life. Now you have tenures. So he used to go early morning to the university to teach. And at 10 o'clock, he would go to court. He would come back from court at 4, spend half an hour at home. We used to live in Old Delhi. We had a family, my joint family, a very big Haveli kind of a place. And then he would go to office at 5 and come back at 9 every day. Friday evening, I used to go with my sister and my parents to Connaught Place. So we used to buy stuff from Mengers and then have a meal at Qualities or something like that. And that's how I remember, my father growing up. My mother was from Bombay, so in the summers we used to sit in Frontier Mail and go down to Bombay, spend time there and all that. I got admission into modern school, which was a very important school those days. And people with some wherewithal or some pool would get, their kids and all that. My father didn't have all that, but somehow or the other. So he was one very important influence. Midnight oil, burning the oil. That's most important. And I was instilled by my father in that. And I remember, on summer days, when we started having separate air conditioners, my father became a judge in the High Court in 1972. Till then, we had one AC in one room. If you remember, everybody used to sleep there. After that, things happened and you had different rooms, and I was staying in Zakir Hussain Road. So my father would come into my room and switch off the air conditioner at 5:30 in the morning to say, okay, now it's day.
Mother?
Mother also, but my mother was a homemaker. She's also very level-headed. The second major influence was when I joined law. I started in the chambers of late Shri Y.K. Sabarwal, who then rose to be Chief Justice of India. He encouraged me to do and appear in cases even as a fresher. Normally, a young junior is not allowed to argue cases on behalf of his senior in the first year, at least 3-4 years. You kind of run around, hold files and do some research and all that. But he gave me all those opportunities. Then, of course, after I got married, my wife was also in the profession. She was also very level-headed and like a companion that you could speak to. We got along well and all that. Those were, I would say, 3 or 4 influences. And one more influence, I would say, apart from this, was my friendship with Mr. Jaitley. And so I had an insight on, how he rose in the profession and in politics, and we became great friends.
We'll come to that later. But you mentioned Chief Justice Sabarwal. But he was also tainted and there were corruption charges against him. What is your take on the corruption?
No, I think it is completely unfounded.
Okay.
I have known him and his family for now well nigh 45 years. The charges were leveled by people who were actually upset at large-scale unauthorized construction demolitions, which he had ordered in Delhi because he belonged to Delhi. And he was heading a bench which was dealing with unauthorized constructions, unauthorized user of properties, residential property being used for commercial purposes. All this was going on. So he was heading that bench and he earned the wrath of a large number of people. That was the result of the allegation. It's completely unfounded.
But he was charged with promoting the business interests of his family.
Why would you say that? See, I know his sons very well. They are normal businessmen. They have done well in life. No, just because a Chief Justice's son does well in life, you can't, just say that it's because of promotion. I mean, what is that promotion? They are exporting stuff. I know for a fact. They're exporting garments to Germany, to USA. What can a Chief Justice in Delhi do to attract a purchaser in Germany? It's completely unfounded. I mean, let me tell you a little more on that. Whenever a kith and kin of a judge, whether High Court, Supreme Court, wherever, comes into the profession and he starts doing well, 50% of the colleagues will say that he is doing well because of their connection. But the real test is, after that judge is no longer there, if you still do well, then, those tongues don't wag.
Against that backdrop, what is your take on the corruption in the judiciary? And is a transfer enough? In fact, when Justice Verma was transferred, you had said that you were mystified by that transfer.
There is corruption in the judiciary. It may be at different levels, but certainly it's a worrisome issue. When the Constitution was created, Mr. Ambedkar never thought that we would have corruption in the judiciary, because he made no provisions in the Constitution except a power of transfer. That power of transfer in the Constitution was not really meant to be a punishment. It was meant, for better administration of justice in that sense. If a judge is corrupt, let's say in the High Court, and there are allegations of corruption around that, there is no real mechanism except to have some in-house inquiry. So if there is no real remedy, then this transfer business has kind of come in vogue, that you transfer somebody and it's now perceived as a punishment. I think it's hogwash. In fact, you will find bar associations of the receiving court always up in arms that don't send trash here.
So you're being mystified, quote unquote, by Justice Verma's transfer?
You see, Mr. Verma is under a gaze. There is a 3-judge committee appointed, which is called an in-house procedure. It is not a procedure sanctioned by law, because there is no law except impeachment, which is very laborious. If you have this procedure and he is not going to get judicial work to discharge, so what is the great point of sending him from here to Allahabad? What is going to happen? If he has to sit at home, he can sit at home in Delhi. Nobody can remove him from his post under the Constitution. He has to be paid his salary. I mean, that's also a very strange position, because there is no provision. And Parliament will start impeachment. It's a very, very laborious procedure. And the judge will continue to get his salary in a house. So then why send him from here to there? What is the signal you are... that's why it's mystifying.
Okay, coming back to your personal life. Today you have arrived and you're sought after. What about your years of struggle and the first earning? How much was it? How did it feel? And what did you do with that money?
I will tell you from whatever I remember. God has been kind. No real ups and downs. My wife used to maintain a notebook, where the notebook you take to school. So we had that kind of a notebook. And whatever money I would earn, we would sit down in the evening and note down. And one of my first fee was in a small case in the High Court. It was 110 rupees. And why 110? Because 10 is meant to be a clerkage. You should note down month-wise. So say January. I started in July. That's how you start. So it was July 1978. So the first entry was, I think, 110 rupees. So it was a great feeling. The 100 rupee note used to be a big note, not like now. It was a great feeling to get 110 rupees. And I think the first thing is to go out for a meal. I remember a soup used to be 5 rupees. And with that, you would get hot bread. You could have soup and fill your stomach. Getting that was probably one of the most happy moments. If I get a check of 10 lakhs today,
I was just going to say, after that, zeros kept adding.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of zero. It's because that you are in the profession and you are carrying on. I don't have anything else to do. If I retire today, I don't need the money, but what will I do?
So when did your first break come? Your first case, your first day at the courtroom?
In fact, the first case I did, I lost. It was a case where we were wanting a collusive order. Both sides were colluding to each other. We thought we would get it, but we didn't. That is the first case, but I don't know about breaks. See, I was essentially in the High Court for the first about 20 years. But coming on to the national scene from a local scene, I would say was the first real break, not in terms of cases or money, but you come on to a national scene. It's like Ranji Trophy to a test match, right? So that happened in 99 when I was appointed as the Additional Solicitor General by the Vajpayee government. And I shifted completely to the Supreme Court. And then I realized that Delhi High Court or any single High Court is not the end all and be all because it's more localized. That, I think, was a turning point in my life as a lawyer.
At an emotional level, moments in life that are best forgotten.
The death of my parents, I was very close to them. That was quite devastating. The second is the loss of a very dear friend and a colleague, Aryan Jaitley. And I still have his photograph in my bedroom at one side. And I look at it every day when I walk out. I always felt that he went away 20 years too early. He was not even 70. These are some moments which I'd like to forget.
While on Mr. Jaitley, tell me about the Karela and Dal story.
My friendship with Mr. Jaitley started in 1978 when I joined the profession, and so did he. He was 2 or 3 years older to me, but he lost 2 years in the emergency, and therefore we started together. He essentially started in the trial courts because his father was a very well-respected member in the trial court as a lawyer. So he started from there, but he used to come to the High Court every day, and that's how we met. So from 1978 onwards, we used to have lunch together, and we had it together from 1978 till about 1998, 20 years. He was a diabetic. And his wife used to send a dabba. We used to all get dabbas from home. And his wife used to send a dabba. I distinctly remember it used to have salad, dal, sukhi roti, Karela because it's good for a diabetic, and mansabsi.
And he ate that Karela and Dal for 20 years.
Every day for 20 years from Monday to Friday.
In fact, if I remember, you said that his undoing was the end of the Dabba system.
I sincerely believe that. And that really happened in 1999 when the Vajpayee government came to power. The second time, he became a minister. So he left the profession. So our lunch stuff was abolished. And as a minister, he was not carrying any dabba because his birth was such. So his diet went haywire. That discipline of food was not there. It kept declining. And then the final straw on the camel's back was after the Modi government, when he became holding
Defense and finance.
Defense and finance, and during this, that is completely vanished. And then he had kidney transplant, then he had cancer. The cancer was because of the kidney. If you have a kidney transplant, your immunity becomes zero. And because of the lack of immunity, he got cancer on his knee. There's no real reason for his cancer at all. And then one thing led to the other, and that's how it happened.
In fact, Prime Minister Modi told you to tell Mr. Jaitley to slow down, and you on your part asked him to quit as minister.
You're right. The Prime Minister told me to please tell your friend to look after his diet because he had put on weight also. And he had a habit of, eating snacks or dry fruits and all that. And the Prime Minister told me that he'd finish a full bowl of kaju or something and sitting there. So please tell him. The Prime Minister himself is a very disciplined eater. I have seen him. He hardly eats anything. So when I saw that, I was the Attorney General then, when I saw in 2014, 15, even 16, that, it was a downward graph, I told him, I said, look, you had the best of everything. You've been important ministers and all that. So now health is going down. So why don't you quit? Rest for a year or two. Do nothing. Get your health back. And then maybe, take some part in politics, some part in court. You need to earn also. right? He had lost a lot of income because he was not working. You could do some cases from 10 to 1. You could do party work from 2 to 4, but don't have the pressures of the government. But I think it was a lone voice, and that's how it ended.
When you were chosen Attorney General, many felt it was because of Mr. Arun Jaitley. But few knew that you were also known to Mr. Narendra Modi, given that you had fought the Gujarat Riots case. So take me through your relationship with Mr. Modi.
The riots happened, I think, sometime in 2001, 2002, soon after Mr. Modi became the CM. And he was the first time CM then. And when those riots started, there were a large number of cases which came straight to the Supreme Court by human rights activists and so on and so forth. And the main allegations used to be that Mr. Modi and his government is looking the other way or looked the other way when the riots happened. And in fact, they encouraged these karyakartas to, carry on with the massacre and murder and all that. That was the drift of those cases. So, obviously, one law officer of the government had to be chosen to defend the state government in the Supreme Court. These cases fell into my lap. The court was very hostile. So I did those cases. It was like a trial by fire. So I did attend a few meetings with Mr. Modi.
Apparently, you attended cabinet meetings.
Yes, so one or two cabinet meetings I attended in Ahmedabad to have a review of some of these cases. But my interaction personally with Mr. Modi at that time was not all that much. Then obviously, when I became the Attorney General, there was some amount of familiarity. And there is no doubt that Mr. Jaitley did help in my getting that post, because there are a lot of pressures on all sides. And then obviously, after that, I used to meet Mr. Modi regularly.
So what were your interactions like? What were your impressions?
Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, is a great listener. He's not the kind to bombard his views on you. He obviously understands that he can't be an expert in everything. So he listens to people, listens to experts, and then he forms a view, at least in all these fields. While insofar as politics is concerned, I mean, he's a past master. For politics, I don't think he really needs anybody's advice or anybody's thinking. But in all other fields, he listens. He will never rush you. When I've had meetings with him lasting 1 hour, Prime Minister giving you 1 hour is a lot of time.
Any personal interactions, personal impressions?
Well, I invited him for my son's wedding soon after he became the Prime Minister. And he was kind enough to come to my house. I had a government house. And that day it poured and poured and poured. And my daughter-in-law's name is Bahar. So the moment he entered the room, he said, Bahar to aayi gayi hai.
You also had a great relationship, working relationship,
Yes.
with Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, and he often took your advice.
I didn't know till I met him repeatedly that he was really a man of letters. He was not that Angutha Chap kind of a person, He would call me for advice on a large number of mercy petitions, large number of laws which he had to sign, state laws, which are contrary to some central laws. He was a great host. So, a lot of snacks would come with a bearer with a tray like this, and chai and coffee, and he was fond of meetha, being a Bengali. Rasgulla khaiye, ye kari, wo kari. And he showed me a round table, at one edge of the drawing room where the president meets people. He said, on this table sat Nehru, Jinnah, Gandhi, and they discussed about the partition and all that. And one of my last meetings was in that Yaqub Menon's case, where he was convicted to be hanged till death. So he called me at the time of his mercy petition. Unfortunately, there was No reason for mercy in that kind of a case.
And now the big one, the Shah Rukh Khan connection and the Aryan Khan case.
See, it was not a big case. I mean, it was a bail petition. I mean, I do 2 or 3 bail petitions every day. But then obviously, considering the personalities involved, the whole country is watching. That way you can say it was a big case or a sensational case. How it happened was that I happened to be in London. It was in October. It was still the era of COVID. So somehow Mr. Khan contacted me. So I told him, I am not going to spoil my vacation and come to Bombay. And it is the middle of my vacation, October vacation. So I said no. So he said, can I speak to your wife? I said, sure. She was with me. So then, I mean, he's a great actor. So he gave her the sob story that look at it like a father and not a client, this, that. So my wife said, no, you should go. I said, look, you normally tell me to be very careful in COVID, not to go here, there, wear mask and all that. She said, no, you should go. So he was gracious enough to say that I will arrange a private jet for you. I said, I decline. I mean, I don't like private jets. I like big jets. So I came to Bombay. I stayed for 3 days. I did that bail. So the pressure was not because of the case. The case was small and petty. The pressure was because all the TV cameras are on your head. All the whole country is watching. And I used to get messages. Ki bhai, kya ho raha hai, kyun ho raha hai, wish him well, this, that, all this was going on. And when that bail was granted, that night I left and went back to England to complete my holiday. I normally stay at the Trident at Nariman Point because its corner suites are big where you can have your meetings and conferences in the suite itself. What I found was that Shah Rukh Khan had taken an identical suite over on the upper floor. And I found him to be very keen and of a reasonably sharp intellect. The case lasted 2 days or 2.5 days. The judge used to hear it in parts, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. So he used to make his notes. And when I come back from court, he would sit with me for an hour and say, no, look, this guy said this, the judge said this, that fellow said this. And he was there for 3 days. And Juhi Chawla is that actress, is his associate in business. So she used to come, and that was my kind of daily interaction in that time.
So what were your impressions?
He was obviously very down to earth. There was again no arrogance or something. And he was really shattered, and so was his wife. That a young boy is in jail. But looking at it from my side, 3 weeks in jail in the Indian scenario is not that great at all. And it's unfortunate. But if somebody tells me that I'm applying for bail after 2 weeks in X offense or Y offense, I would say, come on, yeah, relax. I mean, it has to be a few months. That's the way our system is.
Did you tell him that?
I tried in my own way, but very difficult to tell parents who have not had a brush with the law. So both were very, very disturbed, as probably any parent would be.
And when the bail happened, what was their reaction?
There was a burst of excitement. And he hugged me. Then he insisted that I should come to his house, at night for the celebration. I was going back that night, back to London. And I didn't go. I congratulated him. And he told me later there were thousands of people on the streets. As you know, it happens in Bombay. So all is well that ends well.
Did you meet Aryan Khan?
I did. I think I met him once.
What is your take on Sameer Wankhede? Someone, to my mind, who is corrupt does not fight to the end. So was it the rich and powerful who really got to him?
See, I personally don't know Wankhede, and I don't know whether he's corrupt or not. But it seemed that he had a lot of trouble after that in his career in the NCB. But it seemed to me to be a case of an overkill. Maybe he thought that he would get a lot of brownie points. If he was to arrest, a celebrity. In fact, after that case, after a couple of days, he called me asking my help in his departmental issues. So he asked me, would you help me? I can't pay your fee and all that. I said, I can help you. I have nothing against you. In court, whatever I said against you was for that case. But after that, he never came.
You once said that what you value most is your family. So take me through that lens of love, marriage, children.
We have had great family moments, vacations. I've taken a lot of vacations in my life. But time flies. So both my sons are married, now they have children.
So today, when you look back and when you look at the present, how would you describe yourself? Of course, you've arrived, but would you say you're successful? Would you say you're rich? What does money mean today? And what does being successful mean today?
I think money doesn't mean anything beyond a point. But success, I would define success for a lawyer. That a lawyer is recognized by not only his clients, by people at large. People acknowledge you. I think that is what success is.
So would you say you have achieved that?
I would say to a great extent, I have achieved that and I'm happy about it.
The last bit about your passion, cars, and Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, and of course your art collection, which you keep very closely guarded.
See, I always had a passion for cars. And right from my first days in the profession, I used to buy foreign cars, but they used to be second-hand. We didn't have money to buy first-hand cars and all that. And then I had a great desire to buy one of the best cars, which is the Bentley. So then one day I managed to buy it. And it was a great experience going in that car and all that. But today I have got over that, and now it doesn't really matter because a lot of good cars are around you. But as far as art is concerned, it's not a passion from my younger days. It is only which has happened in the last, say, about 10 years or 15 years.
How did that happen?
I'll tell you. It's kind of started when you look at things, you go to houses, I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago, of big industries here, there. You look at that and, you kind of start imbibing or understanding. And for the last 5, 7 years, my younger son is also very fascinated by art and he's the driving force to get this. And my elder daughter-in-law is an artist herself. She's a young artist. So that's how you kind of got into the artist world. You see a Sousa here.
Yeah.
Now, maybe, 10 years ago, I used thinking, what is this? Aisi shakal bana rahi hai and this. But over the years, when you kind of look at it, it looks nice. And then you look at Sousas. That's how it has happened.
So art, of course, you said developed much later. And the Bentley car was something you wanted to buy. Which were some of the other one day when I have money kind of things, which you really went for later?
See, as I said, one was the car. But on a bigger issue, we used to live, as I told you, originally in Old Delhi. Then my father built a house in GK. And it was a small house. I lived there for many years. So one desire was to live in a bigger house, not a 300-yard house. So I managed to buy a 1,000-yard house in GK, which is very close to my father's house. And I was very happy because my dad was very happy that I could manage a big house. He used to come there every morning to have breakfast with me. And then after that, my desire was to come to Lutyens. Then I bought a house, 2 houses basically.
In fact, one is the office and one is the
one
home.
is where you are sitting.
Yes.
I have no other aspiration to buy anything else. I'm done.
Ayn Rand?
Ayn Rand, one of my favorite authors. I was never the Shakespeare type. So it was all fiction type.
Mr. Rohatgi, thank you very much for this fascinating conversation and allowing me to go through your personal and private life.
Thank you very much. Thank you.